Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. And if you're new here, well, that's exactly what I do. Now today, we're looking at a new lens actually, and it's a new lens from Viltrox. And it is the Viltrox S33T 1.5. I'm just looking at the box here. S33T 1.5 cinema lens. This is the box for it. Now the reason why I'm showing you the box is one simple reason. And hopefully you've guessed what that reason is. The lens is actually fitted over here to my Panasonic GH4. Now, I appreciate you guys and girls will be thinking, what the hell have I put it on a GH4 for? It's an old camera, the autofocus is pants, but I don't need to worry about the autofocus because it's a manual focus cinema lens. And I've pre-focused the lens, although I work by myself. It is really difficult using manual focus lenses, generally speaking, because I can't set the focus. And obviously my arms are not long enough to reach the lens from this distance. So I wouldn't normally use manual focus lenses, but I did preset it up. I've done some experiments and I've set up my wireless video transmitter that goes to my iPad. You can see here it's on my iPad. Well, it's not focusing on it. There we go. Let's try that. So you can see here, it's on my iPad and I can see that is in focus because I can see the peaking, the red peaking that's on this app. And I can see that my glasses are in focus. So that works fine for me. And it's a lovely, lovely lens. And I'm going to go through why what I think about this lens and what uses it would be, would be ideal for. Now, cinema lenses are traditionally speaking very expensive. They're certainly a lot more expensive than the, photographic lenses. As an example, I've got fitted to my Nikon Z30, the Sigma 18 to 35. And that's a fabulous lens. And many, many videographers use that lens as their standard sort of kit lens. Because of the, one reason because it's a zoom lens and it goes from 18 to 35 depending on what camera body you've got it fitted to, and it's an f1.8 aperture, so it's a great lens for that. But the cinema version of that lens is about 3 times the price of what the photographic version is. Now, most cinema lenses, if not all cinema lenses, are denoted by a T value and not an F value. So, for example, photographic lens would say an f1.8, or in this case, it would say f1.5. You see that it's got T 1.5. Now, there's quite a difference between an F value and a T value. An F value is a theoretical, can't say the word, theoretical value the manufacturer set when they manufacture a lens. So an f2.8 theoretically allows 2.8 value of light through the lens, and it goes from 2.8, 5.6, f22, whatever. So it goes right through the whole range. But a T value is absolutely precise. It's calibrated to a T 1.5 value. So it does the actual aperture setting is f. Well, it's not an f. It's T 1.5. So it's absolutely accurate, and that's why people use cinema lenses, because you can set a precise, accurate aperture setting on the lens, and that is great. Now, this particular lens, as with again a lot of cinema lenses, has an oiled ring around the focus control and the aperture control, so you can actually set it up on a focus rig. So if you've got it rigged up in a cage, you can put gearing on it, so it will adjust the focus using the gear, and it will adjust the aperture using the gearing. Now, I've got it set in a cage on my GH4, but I'm using just a focus adapter. It's a big knurled ring really, but has got a rubber ring, and that turns the cog, the knurled ring on the actual lens, and that is great because you can get really precise focus. And that's how I was able to set this lens up today, to get that precise focus by using that the adapted knurl thing I've got on my rig. So it's a lovely lens from that point of view. Now, it's a T 1.5 lens, so that is also fantastic because you've got a really wide aperture. Now, I'm not shooting at T 1.5 because of a depth of field, slightest movement, and I would be right out of focus. I've got it set to T 2.8. So the actual bokeh in the background won't be as creamy as it would be if I had it set to T1.5. I will actually turn it to T1.5 in just a moment so you can see what sort of bokeh you can get in the background. And the lovely thing with this lens, it does create lovely bokeh. It's lovely, creamy, cinematic look bokeh, and it does depend on what aperture you set to how much bokeh you're going to get. And for interviews, pieces to camera, cinematic work, it's a great lens. It's also great value for money. Now this lens retails for around $400, $415, so that's going to be around £400 here in the UK, and I think that's a great price for a really, really nice quality cinema lens. And as I say, I'm filming with it because it's pointless me just talking about a lens unless you see what the quality is like that this lens produces. Now it's on my GH4, so it's a micro four thirds mount lens, although they do make it in various other mounts. But I've got they've sent me the 33mm one. Yeah, so it's the 33mm one. So on micro four thirds, it's about 66mm. But on the GH4, you've got an additional crop factor because it crops in just that little bit tighter when you're shooting in 4K. So it's around about 70mm. That's a great portrait lens at 70mm. So for this sort of thing that I'm doing presentations to camera, it is great. Being that it's manual focus though, it is more designed really to have a camera person behind the camera so you can actually check, double check that you've got it in focus. I'm pretty happy looking at this app that is in focus. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. My glasses, so I've got that red rim around my glasses, so that seems to be fine. And again, great studio lens because of the depth of field between, the separation really between the subject and the background. And that's lovely that it goes as wide as T1.5, and it's an accurate T1.5. Also, focus breathing is very, very well controlled with this lens. In fact, there's virtually zero focus breathing. I'll show you an example of that. That's, again, fantastic for cinema producers because you can actually do a pull focus and you can mark your settings with chalk on the lens to mark your settings where you're pulling the focus. So that is fabulous as well. The breathing is very, very well controlled. And being that it's manual focus, it doesn't matter what I do. I'm not going to go out of focus. I'm not going to try focusing on the background or the foreground. And that is great when you're using Panasonic cameras because the autofocus, being that it's depth from defocus or contrast autofocus, is, not a very good autofocus system, particularly on the GH4. Being an older camera, the autofocus on the GH4 isn't particularly good. So manual focus is fantastic. And most cinematographers will use manual focus lenses. And also a lot of YouTubers do. I mean, DP Review, when you look at Jordan and Chris's work, Jordan always works with Panasonic, well, 9 times out of 10 will work with a Panasonic camera, and there will be manual focusing behind the camera. So, there is a great need for manual focus lenses. Even these days there is a need for manual focus lenses, although normally I will use autofocus lenses here in the studio. But so that's basically the gist of it. Now there's 3 models in this range. They've released this new range and there's 3 models in this range. If we have a look here on their website, we've got 3 models in this range. So we've got a T56mm, a well, we're all 1.5s, T1.5 56, a T1.5 33 and a T1.5 23. So, if you did buy all 3, you've got that lovely range between the 3 different focal lengths. And that focal range will differ depending on what camera body you fit it on. So if you bought the E-mount version, obviously on equivalent to 35mm full frame, you would be looking at timesing it by 1.5. But because we've got this on micro four thirds, we times that by 2. So effectively, the 23 would be 46 and so on and so forth. Now, the other lovely thing with all 3 of them, the focus ring and the aperture ring is in identical positions. So if you've got it mounted in a rig and you need to swap out one lens for the other lens, your focus adapter and your aperture adapter, if you're using a focus rig, will be in exactly the same place. so you don't have to make adjustments, and that is really good. So you can change lenses very quickly without having to worry about, you know, moving all the focus rigging and the aperture rigging and so forth. The aperture setting is clickless, and again, brilliant for video because it is a cinema lens, it's not a photographic lens, so you won't hear clicks as you adjust the aperture. It's a smooth transition between the apertures, and they're beautifully labelled, they're clearly labelled on the lens, you know, where the aperture range is, also the focus range. Now I was able to adjust this focus finally because it's very clearly marked where you are and what you know, how many meters away you are from the subject, and it's very, very easy to work with. And you know, I'm really enjoying this lens, and I say they're making it in various mounts. They've got it in Sony E mount, I know that for sure. Micro Four Thirds, I think they've got it in the Fuji X mount. I'd have to check. What I will do, I'll put a link in this video to their website, so you can take a look at their website and you can see, you know, the different mounts and more information about these lenses and how good they are. But this video was purely to show you what I think of this lens, and I think it's a beautiful lens. And I say that because I don't normally use, as I said earlier, manual focus lenses. I can't trust manual focus lenses, but you know, I am, you know, looking at this, and yeah, that is definitely in focus. That is good, and that's a lot of that is because I've got an f2.8 aperture set, of course, because I can see my hair is in focus and my glasses are in focus, so I've got a bit of leeway. I've created a bit of leeway to allow for a little bit of movement, but it still gives a nice out of focus background. It's not completely blurred, but I don't really need to do that, and I don't particularly like that, because otherwise you might as well just have a plain background. I like to see something in the background, and you can, but it's blurred, so it's not, you know, it's not in detail. You can see me a lot clearer than you can see the background. But what I will do in just a minute, I'll do it now actually, is let's switch this to T1.5. So I've now got that set to T1.5, which is at its widest. Yeah, and I can see here I'm still, yeah, the rim is, you know, I'm still in focus. That's actually really nice because that has thrown that background out really nice and creamy. So I'm going to leave it set at T1.5, and there's still just enough leeway there. It'll go out of focus there, I'm in focus there. So I've got just enough leeway to be able to use this lens at T1.5, which is fairly equivalent to an f1.5, but it's a more accurate, so that's why it's, as I said earlier, a T value as opposed to an F value. And Viltrox lenses are fantastic value for money. I've used and have many Viltrox lenses. I use Viltrox adapters. I'm using their lighting as well, the Wii lights. I'll leave a link to one of their videos up here, probably the Wii light that I use. I'll put a link up here to that particular video. And I'm a big fan of Viltrox products because they are so well made, they're fantastic value for money, and they get the job done. The lens is beautifully made. It's metal construction, and it's a really, really nicely made lens. It's not going to fall apart, you know, whenever you use it. So I think you'll be absolutely chuffed to bits with the quality of this lens. Now, Viltrox have sent me this lens for review. I haven't actually purchased it. They've sent it to me for review, and I really, really appreciate that, and I'd like to thank them very much for doing that. But I will be using this lens on a regular basis because I really like it, and I really like the quality of the results that this lens produces. And what I say in this video, as I've always said with all my videos, even if its products have been sent to me, what I say is my own opinion, and I have full editorial control. They won't see this video earlier than what you see it, so everyone's seeing it at the same time effectively. So I mean, that's great. Now I'm actually transmitting this signal, as I said earlier, to my iPad. You can see that there, that it's being transmitted to my iPad, and I'm using a Axon video transmitter. They're really, really good value. I'll also put a link in the description, an Amazon affiliate link, if you want to purchase that. I find with my eyes it's much easier using a video transmitter than I am using a monitor on top of a camera, because my eyes, I can't see it from this distance. At least with this I can pick it up, and it's got focus check-in and all sorts of other you know, lovely things that this app and this particular transmitter can do. At the end of this video I'll put a link to the, that video as well, so you can have a look at that particular product. So there you go, that's my thoughts on the Viltrox T1.5 33mm lens. As I say, there are other lenses within this range. As I said earlier, there's the 56mm, there's the 20 and the 23mm. So, those three combined would set you up beautifully. And as I say, you do need to be behind the camera really, so you can adjust focus if you need to. But if you can't do that, use something like this Axon adapter, set it to focus peaking so you can see that it is in focus. And I am quite happy that that is in focus. And also I can check the framing as well, so on and so forth, which is great. Although with these modern cameras, they've all got articulating screens, even my old Panasonic GH4. So I can see that from back here that I am in focus. And as I said earlier, one thing I really do like about setting it to manual focus, it doesn't matter what I do and how I do this, but it isn't going to move. Unlike my wide lens here, as I move forward, it will start focusing on my hand, and it could be quite annoying when you're editing because the focus will keep moving. Although this Sigma 18-35 is also a fantastic investment and a great choice. So I've got the Nikon version on that because I've got it fitted to my Z30. And I might as well just very quickly say what cameras I'm using. I've got the Panasonic GH4 as my main camera with the Viltrox T 1.5 lens fitted to that 33mm lens. So as I say, that's effectively around 70mm on the Panasonic GH4 because of the additional crop factor in 4K. I've got over here my Canon R10, and that's got fitted to it the Canon RF 16mm lens fitted to that. That's a really nice camera, nice and compact, really enjoy that camera. And then my wide camera is my Nikon Z30 with the Sigma 18-35, and the close-up camera that I get for getting all these shots normally show product shots, but I can't show you product shots other than an empty box because simply because the product is actually fitted to the camera. But that's what I would normally do, and that's my Sony ZV-1, and I love that camera. I would never replace it. So it's great for doing product shots. There we go. So thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please stay tuned for more videos related to video photography, podcasting, so on and so forth. I will be doing more videos with this Viltrox lens. I just really like the lens. And I'm loving the image quality that this lens is producing, particularly how clean the bokeh and the outer focus area is in the background. It's smooth. It isn't jagged. It isn't like nasty. It looks a really nice, creamy, smooth image. So, and also I think they're fantastic value for money. I mean, you really do need to compare cinema lenses price wise, how this compares with the competition, and I think it compares extremely favorably. It really does, quality wise and usability, functionality, so on and so forth. It's just a really great option. So there we go. Thanks very much for watching, and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and please hit the like button if you like the content of this video. Really would appreciate that. Thanks for watching. Cheers for now. Bye.